The Manhattan of my youth was a gritty and real place to be. The graffitied subway ran 24 hours a day like a perpetual moving zoo full of creatures. Just don't poke them or feed them. It cost a dime to use a toilet. And the great buildings were losing their sheen. Some were cracked, some were patched. All of them seemed dark, like they were stuck in some sort of permanent film noir. The early morning scents of fog mixed with diesel fumes would soon be replaced by the stench of hot street trash. But that could be smacked down by waifs of frying garlic or the savory aroma of dirty water dogs from a street vendor. And aside from dawn on Sunday mornings, it was always noisy and busy. There were some really bad things that went along with all that reality, but all of it was New York City. And nobody paid retail. You wanted a good deal on a hard-to-find book, you went to the Strand. You wanted stereo equipment or records, you went to J&R. You wanted camera equipment, you went to any of the orthodox shops on the west side of Midtown. But at Hudson Yards, despite the gritty name, people are paying double plus retail. And those people are not New Yorkers. It has been tough for architecture critics to separate the architecture from the driving economic force of the Hudson Yards. The Hudson Yards is a new development built over the open train yards just west of Penn Station. And with shops like Cartier and Neiman Marcus and Rolex, it's easy to see to whom they are appealing. No New Yorker really needs to shop there. But this appeal to the 1% of the 1%ers has critics sanctimoniously smug, dubbing the region Dubai on the Hudson. Somehow, we New Yorkers are supposed to be offended. But if Hudson Yards becomes a safe haven for tourists and oligarchs, fine. Maybe they'll stay there and leave the rest of us New Yorkers alone in our favorite places. I got into trouble a couple of decades ago when I was trying to explain that gentrification doesn't lift up a neighborhood, it pushes people out. New York should be big enough for all classes to live and work together, but it's not now. It's stratified. It's now a place for the very rich or the very poor. The Hudson Yards was built for the very rich. It sort of one-ups the conversion of Hell's Kitchen into Hell's Breakfast Nook. And there's no room for bacon, eggs, and hash browns anymore. Yo, Hudson Yards! I got your avocado toast right here! The truth is, the buildings are not bad. KPF, once known as Cohn, Penderson and Fox, has done an admirable job of adding a couple of new interesting skyscrapers to the skyline. The skyline, since gems like the Seagram's building and the Lever House, has had a lot of wannabes, modernist boxes that really had no distinctive style, and it made for a duller skyline. That all changed with Citicorp and then the AT&T building, now the Sony building. The New York high-rise, high-end market demanded skyscraper identity. And 30 Hudson Yards provides that for the Hudson Yards. It is the long-distance distinguishing factor that makes the place recognizable. And it appears sort of like a giant glass penguin over the old neighborhoods that also lost their grit. Also, the new Hudson Yards is the northern terminus for the High Line. The High Line was once a real elevated railway that brought sides of beef and other animal carcasses to a meatpacking district that actually packed meat. Now the High Line is this effete and delightful promenade that has staged indigenous grasses and a plethora of paving textures so that hipsters, tourists, and aging Greenwich villagers and Chelseaites can sashay where once real laborers worked. After making the High Line trek, pedestrians are rewarded at the Hudson Yards with the Vessel, an interactive construct as imagined by Thomas Heatherwick. Imagine means that someone else did all the hard work to design and build it. It is a series of stairs and platforms reaching a height of 8 stories. If it just had giant green palms on top of it, it would look like a gargantuan copper pineapple, as might be imagined by Klaus Oldenburg. Maybe a few native joggers will climb it daily, but I suspect mostly tourists will go there. I think maybe 10% of all New Yorkers will climb it once. I did my once already. The Vessel is frankly the identity of Hudson Yards on the streetscape, and I get the sense it was designed to outdo the Cloud Gate in Chicago's Millennium Park. Yo, Chicago, I got your chrome bean right here. On the other hand, New Yorkers will eventually get over its newness, and they may grow to like the Hudson Yards. This includes new New Yorkers, the ones who come from those square states for their finance jobs, and then suddenly become the arbiters of what shishi restaurants are the places to eat. But they couldn't tell an original Rays from a Rays original if you gave them a Zagat. The vessel will be a free thing to take out-of-town friends to do when they're in New York, like Bryant Park or the Staten Island Ferry. And the plaza around it could be a nice place to have an outdoor lunch or to meet somebody as you go off to someplace else. And the shed could possibly have interesting exhibitions and shows, but I doubt if it will ever be another CBGB's or Bottom Line. Hudson Yards was conceived back when the upscale Manhattan real estate market could not possibly be overbuilt. It was never driven by residential need. Rather, it was built for rich people in politically unstable countries as a way for them to acquire assets in the USA as a hedge against any financial and government upheaval. Hudson Yards was supposed to be an instant chic neighborhood, mixed development of offices, apartments, retail, and dining. But of course, things change. For Hudson Yards to become a neighborhood, it will need residents who are more than just visitors who are passing through. But there are challenges even beyond the crisis of today. Retail stores are dying, and there may not be enough billionaires around the world to buy all those apartments in New York City. At one point, an 850 square foot one-bedroom was going for over $2 million. So real New Yorkers are not going to move to Hudson Yards. Real New Yorkers move to Florida or North Carolina. I'm Michael Molinelli, and this is Architecture Codex.